saw me, I'll blow your fucking head off.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It just dawned on me that I never talked about an action film on this channel before, so today we're going to be going over the 1996 film, The Long Kiss Goodnight. Now, I've come across a lot of action films where you got a blonde female who's kicking a lot of ass, but no one does it like Gina Davis. Okay, maybe The Bride and Kill Bill, but she was my first. Plus, we get Sam Jackson being Sam Jackson playing Robin to her Batman, and he is definitely my favorite character in this film. Before we dive into it, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm going to go ahead and give you this heat. This film picks up 8 years after the attempted murder of Charlie Baltimore, played by Gina Davis. She's a trained assassin who developed insomnia after her attempted murder. She was already pregnant before all of this happened, so now she's living with her daughter and she's dating Jerry Seinfeld. She goes by the alias Samantha Kane as she lives this Rice Krispie treat kind of a lifestyle. Everything is just great. She does, however, hire private investigators to try to track down her true identity. Her most recent being Mitch Hennessy, played by Sam Jackson. And again, this is just Sam Jackson being Sam Jackson.
And if you do cop a tooth jerk off, I will see to it you spend the next 10 years in prison getting ass fucked. And if the case is thrown out because my arrest was too violent, I will personally hire men to ass fuck you for the next 10 years. So if you're an ass fucking fan, you go ahead and mouth off.
After a Christmas party, Charlie decides to drive this old guy home because he's a little wasted. I think he went a little too heavy on the eggnog. Grandpa Trump tries to cop a fill, which causes them to hit a deer. They crash into this tree and she flies out that bitch. Meanwhile, the old man is still in the car, left to burn to death. The impact from the crash gradually starts to bring her memory back. While she's recovering in the hospital, we get this horror movie type of dream sequence. Here we get to see Charlie Baltimore for who she truly is for the first time. When she gets back home, she starts to discover new things about herself. She's making salad, she verbally abuses her kid, and she scares the shit out of her partner. You know, normal housewife stuff. After this, we get introduced to a character named One-Eyed Jack, who's currently in prison. He sees her on TV from the Christmas parade and he gets very pissed off. By this time, it's becoming apparent that Charlie Baltimore is still alive. And this leads us to our main villain, Timothy, who's played by Craig Bierko. This guy has to be one of the most underrated action film villains of all time. He's likable, he's savage, he's despicable, he'll kill kids, like he don't give a f. We're introduced to him while he's in the middle of torturing this guy. Don't you ever disrespect me looking like Iggy Pop the morning after 3 hookers and an 8-ball. While all this is going on, Mitch finally gets a lead on Charlie Baltimore, who he knows as Samantha Kane. Apparently she had some fiance out in New Jersey, so he's gonna head to her house and give her the news. That night, Charlie goes outside to greet some Christmas carolers. I don't know how I missed this when I was younger, but they do not want to be there. Like, look at this guy, he has a shotgun to the dome. When she gets to the door, she's greeted by One-Eyed Jack, and shit gets real very quick. He starts blowing shit up. Jerry Seinfeld tries to play hero. He gets wrecked.
What's going on in there?
Charlie flings the daughter into a treehouse and the fight ensues. It continues into the kitchen where she turns him into the Terrifier before breaking his neck. Mitch shows up and we almost have this Black Lives Matter moment. He tells her about this supposed fiance she had out in New Jersey, so the two of them go on a road trip. The chemistry between Gina Davis and Sam Jackson works very well. On paper, it's a pairing that you don't really think would work, but I can say that these two actors really brought it. Mitch gives her a book that he came across during his investigation of her true identity, and there's a phone number inside of it. The phone number leads him to contact a man named Nathan Waldman, who's played by Brian Cox, who's pretty much playing a younger version of Logan Roy from Succession. Well, at least that's what I took away with this dialogue.
What's wrong with the dog?
It's simple. He's been licking his asshole for the last 3 straight hours. I submit to you that there is nothing there worth more than an hour's attention.
The night before they go to meet Waldman, Charlie discovers this sniper rifle in her suitcase. In John Wick fashion, she assembles that shit like it's nothing. She has another horror movie hallucination of her true self, which causes her to flip out and almost blow Mitch away. Mitch ain't really about that life, so he almost bails out, but he decides to take her to the train station to meet up with Waldman. While sitting at the bar, Charlie gets greeted by Timothy, who establishes that she really does not remember who he is. He has this gift that plays out in different scenes throughout the film.
You know, I can tell when someone's lying to me.
Do I know you from somewhere?
Thank you for the beer, but I don't know you know.
No, you don't.
When Timothy leaves, Charlie and Mitch get approached by this guy who they believe is Waldman. But as soon as he pulls a gun out of the New York Times, Charlie is quick to act. Next thing you know, bad guys are coming out of the woodwork blasting. Like, it's just a bad day to be at the train station. They're hitting everything except the main target. I would probably have to say that this is my favorite scene throughout the entire film, especially when Charlie and Mitch head up the stairs and we get this reaction.
Just point and spray, okay? Ready? And... Fuck it! Run for your life!
I think that's why a lot of us love Sam Jackson, man, because he's just, his expressions and his line deliveries is just very relatable. But yo, Gina Davis is badass in this scene. She remembers this sign outside warning people about thin ice, so what she does is she blasts through the window and then they make a run for it away from the explosion before jumping through it. I remember this scene specifically in the trailer when the film was being promoted, and I was like, yo, I gotta see this movie. On the way down, she's just unloading on the thin ice, making sure that it breaks through so they can have a safe fall. I'm telling you, this is like quintessential Shane Black writing. It looks cool, it makes sense, and of course they give us a great exchange between Charlie and Mitch after shit hits the fan.
What happened?
I saved your ass, it was great.
Still in the heat of everything, Waldman comes out of nowhere, kills this guy with his car, and he saves both their asses. Brian Cox is genius. Like, for the short time that we get with him on screen, he doesn't miss. And the back and forth between him and Sam are gold.
How'd you find us?
Found the address and your quote. Here, between the address of a topless bar and the picture of what looks like a man's penis.
That's a duck, not a dick.
After the train station scene, Waldman finally reveals to Charlie who she really is.
You're an assassin working for the United States government.
I ought to know. I trained you.
Mitch doesn't trust Waldman, so him and Charlie end up ditching him, which kind of sucks because he was being straight up. But hey, under the circumstances, it's kind of hard to put fault on Mitch. He and Charlie go to this farm where they finally meet up with his fiance out of New Jersey. This guy's played by David Morse, who's a pretty good character actor. Like, damn near everything I see him in, he kills it. Charlie immediately feels a connection with this guy, but Mitch is still skeptical.
Your fucking hands where I can see him.
Had an itch.
I don't care if your ass was on fire from eating a bag of hot Cheetos. This is not the time to be reaching, my boy. Mitch backs off to give the two of them a little space to catch up. In the meantime, he gets held at gunpoint by Waldman. It turns out that this guy was actually a mark that Charlie was assigned to kill, and that's why she knows so much about him. When Mitch and Waldman go to Warner, it's too late. Timothy shows up and old boy ends up giving her the Deontay Wilder special. By the time Charlie wakes up, she finds herself tied to this wheel, which ends up being my second favorite scene in the film. The goal is to dip her into this cold ass water and try to extract any information that she might remember about their mission. When they dip her in the first time, we see the dead body of Waldman. This dude is done. Timothy dips out, he's got other shit to do. While submerged under the water, Charlie starts to have these flashbacks that led to her attempted murder. When she rises back out of the water, she's like a newborn baby. It's like Charlie Baltimore is like in full form. This is supposed to be a serious moment, but when she's coming back out of the water, she gives off this god-awful scream, and I just couldn't help but laugh. When she's placed back under the water, she goes for the gun that Waldman told us about earlier in the film.
Jesus, old man, how many of those things you got?
3, 1 shoulder, 1 hip, and 1 right here next to Mr. Wally.
By the time she rises back up, she takes out a kneecap, pops him in the chest, and Charlie Baltimore is back. Yo, why they do my boy like this? They got him looking like a straight up slave. This is what I imagine Steven would have looked like 40 years before Django showed up. He's all curled up and shit. This shit is it's just a sad sight to look at, bro. Charlie comes to the rescue, and then we get this makeover montage where she goes from school teacher to baddie. Mitch is like, God damn. She's flashing the goods, smoking, drinking, DTF, kill at will, all of that. Mommy is completely gone at this point. She don't want the kids, she don't want Seinfeld. She just wants to take a quick detour back to the town where her family is so she can retrieve a key and continue this mission overseas. But what this ends up doing is leading the bad guys back to her family, and Timothy's able to get a hold of her daughter. So the last thing she wants to do is leave this kid vulnerable to someone like this guy.
You fuck with me, I'll blind the kid and shoot at her knees.
Damn. Now Charlie and Mitch, they are able to intercept the kid, but they end up getting caught in the process. It's this whole setup. And this is the part in the movie where the big bad guy explains his entire motive.
You're telling me that you're gonna fake some terrorist thing just to scare some money out of Congress?
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Hennessy, I have no idea how to fake killing 4,000 people. So we're just gonna have to do it for real. Oh, blame it on the Muslims, naturally.
Wait, did this guy just describe 9/11? So now we got Mitch upstairs, he's tied to a chair about to get tortured to death, and then you got Charlie and her daughter who are about to get locked in this refrigerator so they can be frozen. Here Charlie reveals that Timothy is actually the father of her daughter, and he gives the most priceless response that I've ever heard in a movie.
Would you bring my little bitch in here?
Yo, you didn't have to do that, man, but that's so funny that they left that in there. I don't know, man. Just let me know in the comments, man. Am I f***ed up? Once they're locked in there, it's revealed that Charlie had concealed some kerosene in the doll that her daughter carries. She is struggling to get a spark so she can start this fire, and the whole time her daughter had these matches on her. Like, what the hell, man? The explosion saves her and her daughter, plus it also saves Mitch by blowing him out of the window and into a tree. And somehow he survives this, but hey man, it's Sam Jackson, so we're all good. Upon escaping, the daughter ends up locking herself up in one of these cargo trucks, which is actually a bomb, so now Charlie and Mitch have to save her from that. Mitch almost gets himself killed, and Charlie ends up hijacking a truck, and Timothy's response to this driver is hilarious.
Sir, she's got the truck. She's headed out of town. I'm hurt real bad. I think I'm dying.
Continue dying. Out. Head her off, please.
This all builds up to a final boss fight between Charlie and Timothy, which leads to one of the most iconic shots in this film. No joke, when I saw this shot in the trailer, I was like, yo, that is Gina Davis? I had no idea. I remember you from Beetlejuice, A League of Their Own. Her doing this was crazy, but it definitely piqued my interest to see what this film was about. After Charlie kills Timothy, all three get away, and she pretty much just lives happily ever after. Still probably an assassin, but just on the low-key side. Just chilling out with Seinfeld on the farm, which looks to be a setup for the perfect sequel that we never got. So this film was like a moderate hit when it came out in '96, and a lot of critics didn't like it. Me, personally, I think it's iconic and it's definitely a cult classic. I would have loved to see a sequel come out sometime in like 1999, something that brings Charlie and Mitch back together. I don't know, some kind of overseas mission, or someone's trying to, kill her, revenge, something. Maybe Timothy's brother, I don't know. Something cliche, but popcorn, action-packed fun. Charlie Baltimore is iconic, especially in the hip-hop world, to the point to where an artist actually took the name in her honor. As film fans, we love to defend Die Hard as being a Christmas film, and I stand in that group. I think it is a Christmas film. But I would ask the question, why don't we give The Long Kiss Goodnight, and Lethal Weapon for that matter, the same respect? I would love to hear your opinion in the comments. Happy holidays, everybody, and I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, give me a like and comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
I hope not, because I'm thinking how much my balls hurt.